I'm Lily, and today I'd like to show you how we can actually use our die cut images as stencils. Now this is a really exciting technique because it means that we can actually use our die cuts as tools. So it gives us another use for our dies, which is always really exciting and fantastic. So what I've done is I've taken one of my tattered lace dies. Now I could be doing this technique with any die whatsoever. I've just chosen this die and it's from the Afternoon Tea collection. It's called the Lacy Doily. You can sort of see why. And I've cut this sort of outer die. I've also added the aperture into the centre. So that's going to form my stencil. I've cut it out of some 240 GSM white cardstock, and that's going to be perfect for the technique. I've also taken another piece of white cardstock. This is what I'm going to stencil onto. What I've done is on the reverse of this die cut image, I've actually taken some of my Cadence stencil spray. And what this is it's a repositionable adhesive that's perfect for use with your stencils. So that means that we can actually stick our die cut image, so which is actually going to be our stencil, down onto our cardstock. And that's not going to move now, that's in position. So I'd say don't leave it stuck down for any more than about 5 or so minutes, which gives us plenty of time to get the ink on there. So I know that that's not going to move and I'm not going to have ink bleed under the stencil. I'm taking one of my Rare Earth Reactions inks, and this is the Monstera leaf. I'm taking as well one of my duster brushes from Rare Earth, and I'm working in circular motions with my Kit and Caboodle glass mat underneath. I'm starting on the glass mat, working in circular motions and moving onto my cardstock. By working in circular motions, what you'll find is that you get a smoother laydown of colour, which is what we want. We don't want it to look streaky, as it doesn't look as nice as if we've got a nice smooth laydown of colour. And just making sure that we've applied ink all over this area so that we're going to get this doily design stenciled onto there. Now you might want to change sort of the position of your brush a little bit just to make sure we get the ink into all those nooks and crannies of this lovely lacy die cut. Now we could be doing this with a small image, could be a large die cut, can be any die cut whatsoever, any colour of ink, any colour of cardstock. Of course you could be doing this onto a coloured cardstock if you would prefer. It's completely up to you. I'm using one of my Reactions ink pads from Rare Earth, and these are a hybrid ink pad. They're a fusion of both dye and pigment, and they give you a really nice blend when you're laying down your ink. You can also use some of your Rare Earth blending inks. As the name suggests, they blend beautifully, so they'll be perfect for this technique as well. And when I'm happy with the amount of colour that I've laid down, and don't forget, I am of course using just the one colour here, you could be using several. It's completely up to you, whatever effect you'd like to create. Once you're happy with the amount of ink that you've laid down, and I think I'm happy with that, just going to bend back the cardstock to remove our stencil. So just nice and gently, as we don't want to rip our cardstock, I find by bending the cardstock back, just release that stencil. Now that's beautifully coloured now. You could be using that on one of your projects as just a coloured die cut. So you do get a sort of two for one with this, which is fantastic. But as you can see, just pull those pieces off. We've got that lovely stencil, that stenciled effect onto there by using our die cuts as a tool, as a stencil onto our piece of cardstock. Now you could be doing that over a larger piece several times and building up your own background designs. So then you'd have the design as your topper in the foreground and bringing that design outwards onto the background, you get a beautiful custom made project. So by using your dies as stencils, you get even more value, even more versatility from your dies, which as crafters is really exciting for us to have that. And I hope you're going to have a go with using your dies as stencils to create really fun and exciting effects.